Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. And at the buzzer family, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. How was your
Welcome.
day?
Mixed day overall. Losing day in my Topstep live account, winning day in a personal account. Topstep account was just getting into the trend a little bit late for where I really wanted to be in. But a very interesting day. It feels like the markets are getting into their, well, the equity markets at least, getting into natural bid state, which when they get there, Coach Paul, it's a different environment for sure. Different
There,
environment.
when buying is unleashed in the equities, there's no better upside moves, in my opinion. It's different than commodities, is because it's designed to go up. And look at that. It's going up.
Going up for sure. Going up here. Welcome now at the buzzer, our market recap. We're gonna review all of these charts and all the markets here. But welcome if this is your first time here. The goal is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before. We believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep for 3 years. I've been involved in the futures industry for 4 decades, and I'm here to share some of my experience and some knowledge and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience, our buzzer beaters. Let us know how you did on the day. Were you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you learned from the day? Did you follow your plan? Did you follow someone else's plan? Mo, Av, I love that. I hit my personal profit target for the first time today, going long on NASDAQ and gold. I also placed the least amount of trades today, just 3. That is awesome, Mo. That sounds like a great day.
Bink the VWAP. Welcome to my only longs. I like that title. Took longs, made money, followed my plan. It was a great day.
Love to hear that. Trader Higgs says, "You the man, Coach Paul and Coach Jay." Trader Higgs, we appreciate you being here. Everybody else in the chat, let us know who's up, who's down. Like I said, I'm down on the day. Was getting long, read the market correctly. Execution still a little bit off. I'll work through those issues here and get back on the right side because, again, these are market conditions that I personally love. So I got to take advantage of them. Missed a ton of opportunities. Green a bit for VWAP George. That's all right. Green on the screen. There's something to review there, though, right? There's something to review what could have went better. And I know that's the same case for me here as well. Mo Av says, your videos are the reason I made it. Mo, we just provide information here, but we appreciate you saying that, right? Shout out to you and anyone else out there who takes information from a free resource on the internet, right? All it costs you is your time and attention and a like every once in a while. Hit that like button every day if you can. Do us a favor. But you're taking that information, you're implementing it, right? So you got to take the credit at the end of the day for even doing that, right? We just provide the story. You guys take it from there. So nice trading. Down on the day for Brandon, wasn't patient at the New York Open. Yeah. Patience on days like today is still important. Patience both ways as well, right? We saw Ethan on with myself and Dolby, and he said he got, in his own words, button clicky during the session open. And he was looking for shorts, looking for longs, clicking a lot. Was down about $1,000 and then slowed himself down, took one trade that he sat in for almost 3 hours, and getting back to patience and then stop, trailing as the market goes. Patience looks a couple of different ways in trading. Patience to enter a trade, patience to wait for a setup, and then patience to allow the trade to play out. Uh, and shout out to Ethan, who again didn't have to have a winning day today, but was able to slow himself down, get on the right side of the market, and then let the market do its job. That's ultimately what this is about. Uh, didn't follow your plan for Roach. You know, uh, Try to address why. If we're not following our plans, try to address why we're not following our plans. Are we trying to make something happen before the market's ready for it to happen? Are we, too eager to just see some green on the screen so we're not letting our trades play out? Let's try to figure that out, right? Best thing you can do is journal it, write it down, record some thoughts, listen to them, and then go from there. Uh, are we going to make an attempt
I,
at all-time highs? Walker says, potentially. We'll see on these charts. Go ahead, coach.
one thing I would add to that in journaling is these are important days when you're not following your plan because you're not aligning your execution with the market and your plan. And that is where, like Coach said, journaling is extremely important because if you can get and the reason why you're not following your plan, you're going to get it from journaling, but also you can begin with some data points to understand where you're going wrong in your execution of your plan. This is much like you're in a combine or when you're first starting out or in trading. I'll use a professional athlete. When it comes in, he or she comes into the big leagues, they don't just throw them out there. You have to build some time and execution and prove that you can make good decisions under pressure. Best way to do that is right now take this opportunity to really focus on that because when you solve that, then you can't solve the market. Key is to solve your interaction and decision making in the market. So it can be a very valuable day in your long-term plan.
Sure. Let's take a look at the news. We did have some numbers come out today. PPI came in at 4.0% year over year. Forecast was 4.6%. Prior number was 3.4%. Of course, that PPI number is up maybe just a little bit off of the crude oil spikes because that PPI number does include energy prices. Core PPI year over year came in at 3.8%. Forecast was 4.1%. Prior 3.9%. So a little bit lower than expected. When we talked about that number this morning, we talked about it with Jessica Inskip as well yesterday. One of the things she mentioned was whether or not the crude effects are showing up in that inflation data yet. Is it going to show up right now? Is it going to show up next month? We will see inflation up, definitely up, but not as much as forecast here. Maybe the market's like that. As far as news goes with what's going on in Iran, we did hear the president say there could be talks in Pakistan over the next 2 days or so on a ceasefire agreement and ending the war. Uh, Whatever's happening out there, the markets are saying it's time to buy. We're back at 26,000s in the NASDAQ, 7,000s in the S&P. Coach Paul, anything you want to mention on the news, or should we just get right into the charts?
Let's just get right into the charts.
Let's do it. Taking a look here at the daily in the NASDAQ. What are we seeing, Coach Paul?
Wow. We're seeing who asked that question just a few minutes ago. Can it make new all-time highs? When? What was it? I think can it? Well, yeah. But this action is showing, and I got to throw you a shout out. You said it last week. This market is turning around, it's finding some momentum. You could be at all-time highs in a short amount of time. This today is further evidence that is happening. There is no I can put it this way. In this chart, I call it a runaway allocation. There's time for larger traders or investors. They're not waiting for the price to come to them. The shorts, if there are shorts here, have to move. So this is reflected in this movement, and there's until we see like some kind of counter activity, a failed auction at the highs, a break of previous days lows, this market has the potential to keep rocketing higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. We have Francis Newton on last week, and you said, Coach, if there are shorts here, we saw a headline from Goldman Sachs 8 days ago. So let's see, 8 days ago, right around here, 24,400s, that there was hedge funds posted the largest net short on global equities in 13 years. That came out from Goldman Sachs 8 days ago.
And that was at the 200 move, I mean, the 20 moving
20
average.
moving average on the daily.
And what have we seen since we claimed the 20-day moving average?
And we get much higher. This market is just rallying here. This market is just rallying here.
Yeah. So with that, you're saying, so okay, that's great information. So we had hedge funds record short and
largest net short in 13 years.
Okay, 13 years. Now, that was right around when we closed above the 20-day moving average. Now, that's also a sign for hedge funds to start taking profits.
Yeah.
That's also a sign of longer term buyers because this market is designed to go up. They start becoming aggressive buyers. So they're feeding on each other. And it continues. And you can see there's not much time before the buying comes in, and it's really represented on the cash open. So, yeah, this market has ignition and energy in it.
Absolutely. Who asked the question? Lovin, what happens to the remaining 50% of the profit not taken in an XFA? Make sure you read through that Topstep Help Center. There's a bunch of information on there. But if you, let's say you have a $3,000 balance in your XFA, you take 50%, that other 50% is still in the account for you to trade. That becomes your drawdown, right, in the account. But that's what's left in the account for you to trade with as your drawdown. And then eventually, if you continue to trade well, that gets moved over and feeds the balance that you take into a live account. Let's take a look here at the 30-minute in the Nasdaq. Last night, we did have that PPI number coming out this morning. So when we were on slow markets last night with Dakota, wasn't expecting a whole lot out of the equities in the overnight session, and the Asia session really didn't give us much to work with. I mean, there's a range-bound trade here if you wanted to take that. I think we were both kind of leaning to the long side, but saying that, I don't know how much movement we're going to get prior to PPI, and I went to sleep, and then London started buying it, but pretty flat overnight session, not too much to talk about there. We see the buying start in the London session here, Coach Paul, and anything you want to mention in the overnight session? Should we just get right to?
No, one thing important, we finished near literally the high tick yesterday. And they had this explosive move yesterday. It moved through all of my pivot levels to finish at the third level. And it did it with a continuation all day long. We just talked, you said that hedge funds were short, right? So now covering shorts, initiative buying, longer term buyers coming in. It's like I said, it's feeding, and this is a rare structure coming in the last night. We didn't even touch into yesterday's value. It found balance overnight, right? What another term for that? There was no sellers. Picture yourself short. Okay, I'm gonna hold it, see if I can buy a dip tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, we had that balance where it was nothing. VWAP was caught in the first half hour's range, and then initiative volume came in. That was the highest volume of the night.
For London,
So now,
London Open.
yeah, on the London Open. So now we have new buyers and session VWAP following through at that point. One of the practices when you're trading is to think about what is the other side. The other side is stuck. There's
Yeah.
a great expression in the trading pit. If you ask, are you stuck? Oh, you are? Stay stuck. So it was just brutal.
Yeah.
So if you're short, you're stuck. If you're doing initiative buying from larger traders, they have to reach to buy it. And we saw that on that initiative volume that forced the market out of balance into an imbalance to the upside. And it was off to the races.
Yeah. Really strong move here. We're gonna get into the equity open. The Nasdaq. I mean, this is an urgency trade right here, right? Here is the first 3 minutes of the open. Within 3 candles, we had price and volume leaving that range to the upside, continuing the flow that we saw from the overnight session. We took one look at that overnight VWAP. We didn't get a test of it, the full session VWAP, and this is just a trend day up. Now, uh, are these blind buy markets? No. Especially, I mean, I lost money getting long today, right? I started buying up here somewhere just late on this account. Um, but this is where if we start to trend, that question, Coach Paul, I had to remind myself of it as well. How close are my entries to volume? Let the volume do the work. A lot of times people can say, it's hard to get in a trending market, right? Now, some people don't like market conditions like this because it feels like the train has already left and there's nothing you can do to get into it. And I think it requires patience again to get in here. It requires patience or risk management. I want to talk about a trade that Dolby took while we were on air. He was getting long. What time was that? That had to be right about here. 928 was his price. Now, this is what the market looked like when Dolby was getting in long. Now, somebody's going to say, and somebody did say, why are you buying the highs of the day? That's just not a smart trade. But at that point, that was the high of the day. 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 That one stopped me out. I hate you, Nasdaq. But but at some point when the market starts to trend, it's hey, there may not be a pullback. You ever been in that situation, Coach Paul, where you're just like, I know I want to buy this, but it's not going to pull back?
So it's a great question. Yeah. And we just talked about the structure coming into the opening, the balance overnight, the initiative buying volume. We're above VWAP on the session, right?
Yeah.
But that's the context coming in. And at that point, that overrides price. The price really was just an advertisement. You had structure of a runaway upside market. So in the read, we take that into consideration.
Yep.
So that volume on the opening into new highs in the first 3 minutes. Yeah, that's the background.
Yeah.
Every key opening overnight, the Europe Open, the Asia Open, had positive structure.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, all of that was above session VWAP. So yeah, that feeling I understand, but once again, if you picture yourself short,
Yeah.
this is where a freeze can happen. You're short and you're waiting for a break. You and the other shorts.
Or the natural contrarian comes in and says, "Well, it's up too much. I didn't catch the long, so I have to short it." One of the things I want to talk about with this, right? What can be really scary about buying up here is how far we came, right? And I know this as a trader, we think, well, I'm gonna have to risk this much. The market's already gone too far. One of the things I really like to do in this circumstance, and you can kind of see it once we start to trend, I like to go out to like a maybe a 5, maybe a 15-minute chart. For me, I like to use the 15. You can see once we started trending, we're not taking out any 15-minute candles lows. That's to me where the risk is, or invalidation is. Maybe not where the risk is, but where invalidation is. So Dolby got long here, 25.928s. Coach Paul's suggestion is 2 ATRs, right? So at this point, on a 15-minute, 2 times the ATR was 74 points. That's your risk. But to me, what invalidation looks like is what would invalidate this trend up, and that's a break and close below a 15-minute candles low, which we haven't done since we started trending, right? Now, how much am I really talking about as far as risk goes? This is about 40 points of invalidation, which is about the same that I would take down here. A couple of things you have to keep in mind. If the market's already up 300 points or however many it was up at that point, how much can I honestly expect the market to continue to rally? Obviously, we have this big 26,000 level up here. So maybe at this point, I can't look for a 4-to-1 trade, but there is potentially still some room in this trade, right? And that, again, Dolby's entry was 928s, 74 points. I have to adjust my expectations. Maybe I cannot look for a 2-to-1 trade up here because I've missed most of the move already, but you still get a 1-to-1. Anyone here cool with taking 74 points out of the NASDAQ? I am. Right? So it's not, the move is not always over, right? If you're late to the move, but your expectations have to change, in my opinion, if you're going to still want to take the trade. You could also just say, hey, it went too far already. I'll trade it tomorrow. But if you believe that there's still room up, and I think there was a really strong case once we got above 25,900s to maybe see that run at 26,000s. It did take all day for us to get up there, and we did have a pullback in it, but with reasonable measured risk and small position size. Am I going to over leverage? Am I putting on max position size up here with this trade entry? No, because it's probably lower probability, but there is still a trade here. And again, we saw an entry where somebody's going to say, hey, that he's buying the high of the day. But someone could have said that here at 25,863s as well, right? So how do you measure the risk is the question. Or maybe you wait for a pullback.
That's an old argument.
Yeah.
There's investors called momentum investors. They only buy if it's making a new all-time high in stocks.
Yeah.
They want to buy the momentum. Not all of it works, but they have a plan to manage it. So if first of all, trade your plan. I wouldn't worry about other people's trading.
I don't care what anybody else does. I really don't.
Right? It takes a lot of mental capital to do that. Focus on your decision making. Everyone's different, and at the end of the day, you're going to trade your personality, or you're not going to be able to execute a plan. So, I mean, I just highly advise just focus on your execution and your relationship to the market. Anything outside of that is really taking you away from your game.
Absolutely. But we tagged 26,000s here in the NASDAQ. We're about 3.5% off the all-time highs in the futures. I can check an NDX chart and SPX chart in a little bit, but the rally continues. This is now 10 out of 11 days to the upside. Quick look at the S&P that tags 7,000s. We are about the same. Actually, no, we're 1.25% off the all-time high here in the S&Ps.
It could happen tomorrow.
That could happen tomorrow.
But you said 1%. right?
Yeah. 1.25, and the S&P today. I didn't go through the quote board. I forgot. We just got right into these charts, but the S&P was up today 1.17%. So that is in range for tomorrow. Again, could we see the market sell off? We could, but this is a different market structure than we've seen, and it's sometimes it's hard, Coach Paul. We were in 30 days of a downtrend in the S&P, and it was an environment where it was probably a lot harder to buy than it is to sell. Right now, we're seeing the exact opposite of that. But I think what happens sometimes with traders is if you made most of your money this year shorting the equities, we're creatures of habit. You want to kind of go back to what was working, but the environment has changed, and right, look at it
Oh,
that way. That's you would sell this market.
is that crude oil?
This is the S&P just flipped. Let's go through that quote board really quick. Downside, we had RBOB gasoline futures down 2.19%, heating oil down 5.03%, and crude oil down 6.89%. For our biggest percentage mover to the downside, to the upside, we had gold up 2.03%, micro Ethereum up 2.12, and silver up 5.37% for our biggest percentage mover to the upside. To talk about our big four, crude down 6.95. The S&P up 1.18%. We already mentioned gold up 2.03%, and the Nasdaq up 1.75% on the day. Taking a quick look around the horn here, the Russell, another one, about 1.8% off that all-time high as well. Equities are rallying, which means crude oil is selling off. Let's take a look at this crude chart on a daily. Coach Paul, what are we seeing here?
Ooh. We talked about this yesterday, and we're getting confirmation early today. And what is that confirmation? If that 20-day moving average, we've accepted underneath it. And yesterday we attempted on some news event, feels like a month ago. We're rejected, almost an island candle out there by itself. And now the 20-day moving average is starting to decline.
Yeah,
When did we see this happen? The opposite was in the equities.
correct.
Now shorts are starting to. First of all, we're getting exiting of longs. Shorts are starting to gain control under the 20-day moving average, and commodities go down just as fast as they go up. So from an auction point of view, this is failed auction on a longer term, and it's gaining momentum. How low can it go? Next stop to me is the 50-day moving average,
Agreed.
which is
82.
probably about 50% of this move.
Which move are we measuring here?
From the lows of in what was it, October?
Lows in October. Oh, you're talking about all the way down here.
Right here, yeah. The
I was kind of
lowest
measuring
low.
from it's about there. 86.42 is that midpoint. I think
I'm
one
going
of the
back to my GAN roots.
okay, there you go. One of the things that Scott Besson was talking about was getting oil back to uh, pre Operation Fury prices, which is $68, which would be the low here. But that 50 moving average definitely looks like a potential target here to the downside. That is, let's see, percentage wise, how far that is from where we are now. About 13.5%. So 2 more days like today. But yeah, this is definitely a market that has broken that upside structure. That 20 moving average was a trend line basically for a little while, but now we're closing below it. And I think this candle here was the ceasefire candle did it. So what I'm looking at is we held that low, 91.05s. Can we close below that? And then again, make that flush to the 50 moving average on the daily. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart here. CLZR says that was the market to short if you were so pulled to sell something. Yeah. So I had a couple of trades in crude oil last night in slow markets with Dakota. And
What is that? I want to ask the audience what
what is this
happened
trade?
and why did you get out?
So I was long. So I got short. I got short around 96.03s, and then I
Mhm.
actually got long here because there was some orange at the lows here. We got some
Okay.
selling absorption. So I got out and was looking for 97.80s as the target. But what do we call this trade here, chat?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I ask myself that often, like,
I
what
mean,
is it?
yeah, shit. If I knew this was gonna happen, I would have sold more.
Yeah, and I had to be a jerk because
Oakwood
it's
Torch says
J
Jay.
light.
Hey man, it happens.
J. Is that as in J trade or is that in
No, this is
starts
not
with
a
a
J.
U? What kind of
Yeah, this is not a J trade. What kind of trade is this? Somebody knows.
oh, Bueller? All right, coach, you got to give it up.
No, 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 we don't. I'm not giving anything up. They know it. Is
Oh,
that a Paul drop? There you go. Yeah, your
no,
urgency trade. Urgency trade
urgency.
in the first 30 minutes and relative urgency, right? Two candles. We had price and VWAP leaving that range to the downside. That is urgency. Uh, we made the high on the open. Uh, and urgency is relative, right? This market really didn't start selling off from this range until the New York session opened up. But what it told us early, and we say this all the time, when it happens that early, it has the potential to be the trend for the rest of the day. Now, we don't know how this is going to play out, especially with crude oil, right? It's such a headline driven market. Anything can happen at any time that's going to move this market around. But even if I don't sell it, if I'm buying it, how much really am I looking for as far as targets go? And if you guys were watching slow markets, you saw where my target was on this trade. How much really can I be looking for upside targets if the initial flow is to the downside? Now, in the overnight session, it flattened out, so I took that trade off for a profit. But there is something about this range here that the market said, I'm not, I'm done buying there. And we can see that even on the retest of that 30-minute range where volume is below it. There was never any real buying in this market. And then when we see more volume come in for the New York session, that's when we really start to get that trend. So it can happen at any time, but the structure is there to say that even if I'm not going to sell this, I might be one of the only market participants looking for to buy this for it to go up. Just a really nice sell off there.
No. One other thing, this this action was the complete opposite of the equity action.
Yeah,
We had that large break yesterday. We closed at near the lows of the session on a large break. So we didn't find any responsive buyers.
right.
If you were long, you had trouble all day.
Yeah,
You're looking for it to be rescued. Also, this is all structure happening under the 200 moving average on the half hour.
for sure.
Um, so look at so that resistance it tried to rally one, two times where it couldn't break the structure. Then look at the largest volume of the day.
Yeah, right here.
And even that couldn't find
Sometimes high volume means
responsive
continuation.
buying. And so coming into this is complete liquidation. And going back to our analysis on the daily, this can continue.
And there's market participants that want it to continue. Billy the Kid, good point here. That's a good entry, but at what point does it stop retesting? It's 3 to 4 times. Yeah, I mean, don't want to make it seem like this is an easy trade. Again, if you got short here, which is a great entry, if you got short here, and I said this about crude oil as well when I took the short last night. I said, if it's not going to go, personally, I don't want to be sitting in crude oil just waiting for a headline to drop. But again, there's a bunch of different schools of thought. Coach Paul's one that said he just asked me, "Why'd you get out of the short?" Right? Because is Coach Paul's stop is going to be here on this trade. 2-1. Coach Paul, probably have way more patience than me in sitting in these trades. Talk to us honestly about the emotions of sitting in this trade, if any, if there are any at all. Sitting in this trade
Oh,
for 13 hours and it didn't do any like so and so here I don't want to make this seem easy, right? This trade at
not.
one point got pretty close to a 1-to-1 and then traded back above your entry before it got in your favor. So if you took this trade here, talk to us about this because there is a mindset that is needed, or you just turn that off and say, you know what, that's the risk. It's defined. I'm not taking it. But this is 13 hours of back and forth price action before the market starts to agree with what you're looking for.
Well, that's where
How do you
context.
stay confident? How do you stay confident?
Oh, don't watch every tick.
Okay.
Literally. If you would talk about plan your trade, trade your plan.
Mhm.
First, we had urgency. I want to sell urgency. The next is predefine the risk. But predefining the risk using this is not for everyone either.
Yeah.
But predefine the risk. What is 2 ATRs? What is the cost? Let's just use a micro because
Mhm.
most
190
most
bucks, 200 bucks.
so 2 ATRs.
TRs on the 30-minute when I took this trade right here on this candle close was 197 ticks. So 200 bucks.
$200 to make 400.
Mhm.
I like that trade. Can I afford it?
Yeah.
Check. And then I just now put a line chart out. Sometimes, and this is where it helps me. There's less what I'll call vertical noise,
Yeah.
and this line chart gives the close on the half hour. That's much more structured to me. But if you really like the trade, 2 ATRs, I'm comfortable risking 200 to make 400. What good is it going to do me to watch this tick by tick?
I mean, on a day like this, nothing at all, right? Courtney said it that wick around 3 a.m. would have gotten you out. Hopefully, you're sleeping then, where you're not even watching this, right? Depending on what time frame you're in. But I don't disagree, right? I know for myself, this may have gotten me out, probably on a trail. But when you look at it in hindsight, the trade was never invalidated. Now, I think you have to ask yourself whether or not you're comfortable being the trader that sits through this. Uh, and
Well, if that's your plan,
right, if
that's
that's your
what I
plan,
go
right?
back to. If that's your plan, now with that, you can also use this as the market structure. What kind of structure are we under? Okay. Also on a pivot basis, the pivot was 158. So we were below that, below the 200.
Hmm.
With that, I could trade the short side.
Yeah.
And then you can go down to a shorter time frame and look for structure that you want to sell. One of the things is to, okay, eliminate one side. I'm only looking to sell this, and then use that on a shorter term basis. And I want
Hmm.
to say this isn't for everyone, and don't get me wrong, but you can also use this to analyze market flow. It was very negative under the pivot, under with urgency on the opening, continuation under the 20-day moving average. When we put all that, we can read and give a good structure to what the overall market participants and the bias that's coming out of their movement and trades. So, with that, what side do I want to take? That's the way you can use that in another way. It doesn't have to be just this trade. And this trade isn't for everyone because son of a bitch, I was up $600. Now I'm down 50.
Yeah.
I don't play. What does that do to your decision making?
Destroy it.
it destroys it. So if you're watching it, what's going to it's like a think of a good poker player. It, he
Right.
saw some good structure on the deal. Then the betting begins.
Mhm.
And you have to read, or a good poker player reads the rest of the table and the cards that he can see, or she. So it's structure. And
Yeah.
anytime there's urgency, as we've seen this many times, I got to make the move.
Yep. Has to go now. So one of the things that I'll do is I'll trade around higher probability times, right? You'll hear me a lot of times. Well, I'll take a trade in the overnight session, but if it doesn't go immediately, there are times where I'll just give up that trade location and say I'm gonna trade. I may trade the same exact trade in the morning when I know that there's a higher probability of follow through, when I know that that volume is coming in. But there's you can't have everything. There are times where I say that, and then I'm gonna give up that trade, right? If that was what I said for this trade in crude oil, by the time we got into the opening call, we're trading here, right? So I may have to sacrifice just a little bit of trade location, right? I could get relatively equal trade location to what I had, but that doesn't always happen, right? So if you're going to wait for highest probable high volume times, just understand that you might have to give up trade location, but you could be getting quicker confirmation on the trades. But there's a give and a take for everything in the markets. Um, all right. It's easy to execute on evals and XFA around structure on live, or XFA overpowers. That's a size issue. Weirdo book. It's a size and attachment to result issue for sure. And
It,
and it's the pressure of real money. Hi, I'm Jay. I'm going through that right now. Uh, I trade every day on air. I give status updates on air. Part of my job is sharing on social media how my trading is going and things like that. What I will say is that my personal trading is going a lot better than the trading in this live account, for that reason right now. And we'll figure it out. I'm not super concerned about it, but it's a real thing. Alleviate the pressure from yourself by trading a size that probably doesn't. I hate to say doesn't matter, but it's not going to cause you stress. Uh, there's risk in every trade, but and maybe I'm speaking to myself right now, weirdo book, but alleviate that pressure by trading a size that if you're wrong, it's not going to hurt you.
it's absolutely it. That's part of the process. It,
Hmm.
it truly is. And you have to be comfortable in taking the risk, because what happens, and happens all the time in live trading, now you're trading money. Before you were trading a combine.
Yeah,
So you can value that money as car payment, mortgage, vacation, and attach the value of money to the trading decision. This is the human response. This is actually the rule rather than anything else. Being comfortable in that when you first start trading smaller, building up your account a little bit and building some confidence. Um, so it, it, that, that's a great statement, and anybody who's been in it understands it. And that's why there's the next level. With, like we bring up a baseball, they bring up athletes in the minor leagues through the AAA system, bring them in, give them a little time, let them get comfortable, go live, and be comfortable in a live situation. So, yeah, that's part of the phases. Thanks for bringing that up.
for sure. Why would a personal account be easier to trade than a prop live account? I wouldn't say it's easier to trade. I just think sometimes you might have a wider leash, you might have a bigger daily loss limit, but again, Pros and cons to everything. Pros and cons to everything. I might have a wider leash on a personal account, but I could also lose that entire account in one day. My Topstep account has a daily loss limit set by the risk team that uh, I could be the worst trader in the world that day. They're going to prevent me from losing a certain amount of money up front, which I appreciate. All right, let's take a look at gold here. Gold on the daily, nice trend day here in gold. Gold looks a lot like the equity markets, but what are we seeing on the daily here at 50?
That 50 is within shot. We're accepting above the 20 and found more buying. We talked about this yesterday. It's gaining upward momentum, still in balance in the last week, but that 50 is within earshot. Let's create a trend line from the highs, the last two highs. Yeah, that one. Oh, the one before it, the all-time high. There you go. The all-time high and the secondary high. That has a chance. And this market is gaining momentum. Look at the volume. We had the J trade that hit the 200, right? We have continuation. And we're holding the 20. Does this sound familiar? Next is the
It's like the
50.
equities.
It's following the equities. But
Yeah,
why? Do I need to know why? But this is when we talk about looking at flow and structure. This is a very positive structure.
for sure.
Oh,
Yes, it is. Sorry, I had to flip that over to
flipped
see
it.
what it looked like in relation to crude. But yeah, very, very, very similar structure to the equities here. Uh, really bullish day here in gold. What is that white line, chat? What is that white line? The low of the session, pretty much today. For all of our new viewers, that white line, the one is specifically on this chart, is the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart, which every once in a while becomes pretty damn important. Urgency again
Didn't we
off the
didn't
200.
we didn't we talk about it yesterday?
Think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Who's taking notes here during at the buzzer? Did we talk about this yesterday? Uh, I mean, how was I not long gold? It's all right.
There's only so many opportunities.
Yep. And here's that trade, right? Urgency on the breakout. Let's say we get long here. Risk is 28 points, $28. Here's your trade. We see them play out how many times, chat? And I'm saying this to myself as well. How many times do we see this exact trade play out? It's not going to work every day. It's not. There's nothing. I have not found one trade that works every single day. But
No, absolutely not. That's why 2 to 1 on your risk reward really helps in the long term.
yeah,
But look at this is the exact same trade as
as the
the
equities.
crude sell.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah.
200, about 250 risk. Same structure.
Hmm.
It's as if people are taking their crude profits and putting it into gold.
Hmm.
Why?
Because that's how money flows.
Because that's what they're doing. That's what the market structure is. I don't. So if we turn that upside down and compare that to crude, they'd be attached.
It's the
And
same
we
chart.
couldn't. Yep. It's literally the same chart.
Yeah, same chart. Inverse gold and crude. Literally the exact same chart.
So we'll go back to structure. Structure takes time, volume, then price. In that equation, what did we get in gold? We had urgency, so there was no time. We're told so volume, VWAP leaving the range urgently. then the price comes later as it moves. But classic. How many markets did we see that happen in last night?
Crude, gold, probably silver, eventually the equities,
And
maybe micro Bitcoin.
yeah,
No, not so
but it,
much. Somewhat.
but yeah, it didn't get urgency. It took some time,
Yeah, it's a big 30-minute range.
but it hasn't broken above its. It hasn't broken out yet, but it's trying. But what I was saying, if we go back is we start seeing this pattern. Why we review here at the buzzer. We're looking for patterns. This pattern happens. Doesn't happen all the time. But if you go 2 to 1 and it's at 50, let's say it worked 50%, you risk $200 to make $400. That's called an edge.
Yep.
And your job is that I'm going to say is your job is to execute the edge as a trader, not to guess at every movement. Fuck, excuse me. I've
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
And you've heard me say before, I I don't like to trade. I like to make money.
Right.
So sometimes you catch yourself if you're trading too much. Think about that $200 risk. How easily, when you're making random trades, can you lose $200?
Huh. In the Nasdaq, you can lose it before
Yeah.
you can lose it before you can think.
In the crude,
Yeah,
yeah.
you lose it on
So
the entry.
so and also if you want to trade like this, you have to be able to. It's like a purchase to me. I
Mm,
have a budget. I like that trade.
right.
Or if I went to the furniture market and I like that furniture, I'm going to buy it. I put some value on it. Uh, but yeah, um, so we had a lot of urgency. And why did we have urgency? And this goes back to news. So instead of interpreting the news, the better play is to interpret the flow
Yep,
as a reaction to the news.
for sure. And I
Someone
want to
said,
answer. Go ahead, coach.
as someone said earlier, market action usually preempts the news. We saw that across the board.
Absolutely. I want to answer a question from a Christian in the chat. It says, Coach Jay and Coach Paul, how do newbies understand all of your market analysis? So, Christian, I think this might be the first time I've noticed your name in the chat. So, thanks for joining. Everything that you hear Coach Paul and I do is going to be trying to identify the flow of the market, right? So we use volume analysis. Of course, there are going to be levels just like everyone else, supports, resistance, supply, demand, whatever you want to call it, areas of interest. We use, the 200 moving average on the daily and 30-minute chart for context. But everything that we try to do is based on the flow of the market, right? So I believe, which Paul believes as well, that volume moves the market. So if I can identify what that volume is trying to say, then I can fit my trades in that. So what that does, what it helps me do when I'm trading well, is take my needs out of what I'm looking for from the market, and then try to assess what the market is saying, what it's trying to achieve, and then how I can fit in the middle of that. When I'm trading well, I don't even think about what I need from the markets because I don't get to control it. So uh, what I would say is, continue to join. You're going to hear us talk about the same concepts all the time. We have names for certain trades that we take here, but join. You're going to hear repeat concepts, and what we're trying to do is review these concepts when the market isn't moving, so then we can make those reads in real time. Um, if anyone has learned anything here joining at the buzzer in the last 2 years that we've been doing this on YouTube, put a one in the chat. Sometimes you guys trade better than I do. Um, let's take a look at well, we already pulled up micro Bitcoin on the 30-minute. We can see it continue to trend here. But Coach Paul, you've been talking about this one. Did we finally get the candle close above the high? Oh my god, right at it?
No,
Okay, I'm done. Get out of here with this
no,
shit.
and I took a long in there.
It was a
And
nice
I
trade.
actually I traded from loss. I think I made $50.
There you go.
I'm gonna try it again.
It's trying.
Now, it's trying. Why is it what's the difference? Now, I'm betting the upside. I'm gonna risk, let's like, with that 2 APRs is like $100. Um, but if this breaks out, when it breaks down, if it breaks out, it did show some signs early, but we haven't closed. And interestingly, we tested the previous high of this range,
Yeah.
and we
No, it's
reject.
there. Oh no, we're not there. These are. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is looking pretty bullish here. Just need
Yeah,
some.
so what's the difference when we hit the range the last time?
Yeah, we were
The
under the 50
moving
moving average.
averages. Yeah, and they've crossed. So I'm gonna still this to me is a compression, in other words, it's a compression trade.
Yeah.
It's failed big, it's found balance. Now we did this at a higher level and failed spectacularly. All right, you could do that, but you don't have to keep this. We're day trading anyway. But here we were at a lower level. It's almost the same structure. How many days did we on that last base did we spend? This we spent yeah till we broke back under it.
Which one are you looking at? You looking at this here?
That one you had it, yeah. How many
Uh,
days in that
this
where we
is
built a base?
48 trading days, 70 calendar days.
How long we been in this one?
About that. 48 trading days, 68 calendar days.
Hmm. So
That's a
think
level.
of the yeah, think of the compression. And it accepts this and turns around. How quickly do we go to the 200? Is the way I'm looking at it. And
Yeah.
remember, this is a daily chart. So how does that affect a short-term play? Well, let's look at the half hour.
Saw this one. Like you said, it didn't have the same urgency, but this is a market that was trying to bid here. And pretty much all day it was a buy. Jack did have a pretty nice short here. Kind of just gave up. Couldn't really find any buyers at that high. Right, if we look at where VWAP was, it's flattened out and didn't really follow price. But this is pretty bullish looking to me for now. Of course, anything
Yeah.
could change.
So that structure is I would put this structure as short covering.
Mm.
Because that first half an hour was the largest range of the day.
Yeah,
So it hasn't found the longer term buyers. But we're having short covering.
hmm
What did we hold 50% of that half an hour, opening half an hour?
yep,
It hasn't accepted. It had volume rejection because look at that high. We had high volume. We tried to follow through, and then we had an engulfing candle rejecting this. So it hasn't. It
building
hasn't
momentum.
found the follow through buying. Let's see tomorrow.
We will
Making a
see.
case.
Definitely is here. I do want to switch over really quick. So for Christian was asking about, one of the how do we analyze the markets? Again, we try to identify flow. I want to give a shout out here to Billy, right? So Billy's been joining us for I don't even know how long now. Billy, you could say it in the chat, but Billy took a trade today in a market that was a beautiful trade setup, and I'm going to bring it up in a second. But the reason I want to bring this up is because I think it's really cool when people take information and then go apply it wherever they want to. Uh, I did not look at the wheat market today, but Billy did, and had a really
Yeah.
nice trade in wheat today. And it's funny, Coach Paul, because you and I were just talking about corn yesterday. So I'm going to pull up a wheat chart in Quantower since I don't have the data over here. But Christian, this is one of the things we like to try to identify um, in trades that we take, right? So let me switch this over. Here's a wheat chart, and Billy, I should send you an invite so you can come on the show and talk about this trade since you took it. Uh, Here's the wheat market. There's 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. Not just the equities. A lot of people struggle with the equities. In this wheat market, this is the same structure. If this was the Nasdaq, this is a trade that we'd be talking about. Hey, this has the potential to be the trend for the rest of the day. This is what we call an urgency trade, right? We have take those off. We have price. We have an opening range, right? So the wheat market opens up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, just like the equities do. We have an opening range. And in the next candle, we have price and volume leaving that range to the upside. This VWAP, this yellow line is VWAP here. Billy, I'm assuming got in long. And I think you said you liked this trade because the risk was under $100 for wherever you took it. Now, I don't know how many traders we have trading the wheat market. I know we have one in the chat. But this is the structure that I'm personally looking for wherever it happens. Price and volume leaves the range. I don't need to know anything about wheat. I don't need to, know the prices or anything like that. I need to know the dynamics of a market. And when a market starts to move like this, there's a reason. There's opportunity imbalance and there's opportunity in imbalance. And for whatever reason, wheat was out of balance today. Could there have been a headline? Could there be a fundamental reason? Absolutely. Cool thing about it is I don't need to know that. I just need to see the structure that says you can put risk behind this trade idea. Shout out to you, Billy. I don't know what the result of that trade was, but if you got in long, you had opportunities to take profit really all day. So really nice trade there. Uh,
Great job. I love to hear it. I won't
yeah.
trade wheat.
Okay.
It's grass. I could get
Don't
no.
trade grass.
Speaking from an old grain trader, but you said it right away. It's the structure. Because
Yeah.
really, what is an exchange? It's basic. Strip everything out. What is its basic purpose?
Hmm.
It's a place where buyers and sellers meet.
Yep.
An
Yeah.
analysis is to see if there's one dominant side, buying versus selling. That strip it all away. That's really what exchanges do. But when you, in this case, we find urgency. What is the urgency? The buyers are they're, they're initiating activity right through volume and price. That
Yep.
sets the pace.
Uh, JRG says, "Where is imbalance?" It's going to show up in different places at different times. So this is imbalance, right? This is for whatever reason today in wheat, buyers had to be more aggressive than sellers today. For whatever reason. Maybe they're buying it because they're they it could be a multitude of reasons. Um, I don't know why, but the imbalance is as soon as the market opens, we're leaving that opening range with volume as well. VWAP is leaving. This is balance. Look at balance here, right? This one here is balance. Here's that opening range. You see how price may have left this range, but the volume didn't. There's not as much directional opportunity in a market like this, right? So we don't get that same type of trending day. I could get long here, get stopped out, get short. Oh, it's going to break down because price is going, but there's no volume going. You ever anyone ever shop on like a Black Friday or anything like that?
Oh, yeah,
Right. Um,
and never again.
that's imbalance, right? The stores are, hey, there's all these sales going on, and then once you become a seasoned shopper, you realize that they just
They marked it up to mark it down.
yeah, right, exactly. So balance on a 3-minute candlestick. JRG, that's the time frame I look for it. But you could use it on any time frame. It really doesn't matter. Here's another one. Imbalance, right? 3 minutes. Price leaves the range. Volume looks like it's going to go as well. This is imbalance. That's a great short. You could use it on any time frame. Um, Here's this one. Is this balance or imbalance here? Maybe mixed. Right? A little bit of imbalance. Buyers are more aggressive here. We can see that VWAP wasn't as drastic as this one, so we do come back to this range eventually. Here's another one.
Now,
Go ahead,
that's
coach.
where measuring your risk, if you're looking
Exactly.
for 2 to 1. Wow.
Exactly.
This is
So
wheat, huh?
this is wheat. Uh, this is wheat. So shout out to Billy. Nice eye on that market. What is the best? Watching one market and waiting for your A plus setup, or watching a few markets for your setup so you don't take a D or an F setup? Uh,
Great question. We've had this conversation before.
mhm.
I've I've come to the conclusion, especially in day trading,
Yeah.
yeah, wait for the A plus setup, or only trade A plus setups, because the other ones are random. If that's what you're looking for, because it's easier to manage, and not just in a price basis, price or volume, but psychologically. It's easier to accept the result if it's an A plus setup. That's and I really come to the point is I want the A plus setup or I'm not taking a trade.
Right. Right.
What think about it. Why take the C?
Because I want to be in something. I want to be in a trade.
Because I yeah, C.
I'm a trader.
I mean,
What the hell you mean don't take a trade?
you don't get accepted. C traders don't get accepted in the higher institutions of education. But
Mhm.
as the great coach Al McGuire once said, but C students run the world. But in trading, what is C? It's it's
Haste.
literally it's haste. It's random.
Yep.
Eliminate C trades. There's absolutely no need to take them. You just described the coach. What is it? You just want to trade
I just want to trade. I'm a trader. I got to do something.
action.
Uh, yeah. For whoever had asked, the imbalance JRG, right? Another one here. This is corn. Eventually, price trades higher. Can you trade this? Yes. And the thing is, I'm very aware, and we got to end this soon. But I'm very aware that we look at the markets through the lens of our strategy. But to me, the strategy is based on volume. Could there have been another reason for somebody to buy corn today and take a profit from this? Absolutely. But if I'm looking at my A plus setups, there's no trade here. There's nothing
Yeah,
for me to do, right? So define what that is for you in the markets. Somebody else may look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, here you go. Here's one I would take." That's urgency in corn. Why? 3 minute opening range, price and volume. Leave that range to the downside. How close can I get to the flow? And then let the market do its job. Again, I don't know that this is going to play out like this, but we never know anything in the markets, right? We deal in uncertainty, manage risk through uncertainties. That is what we got there, Coach Paul. Any other markets you want to take a look at, or anything you want to say before we head out of here?
yeah. Again, trade your plan and plan your trade. We just went through examples. Eliminate the C trades. I'd even say eliminate the B trades. But absolutely, if you catch yourself in taking C trades, you're just trading to make money, not executing a plan. With that, we'll talk again tomorrow.
We will talk again tomorrow. For Silva in the chat, what's better, Bookmap or Quantower? It's all the same information. At the end of the day, we're all trading the same markets. So whatever platform you use that helps you understand the information, that's the one you go with. For me personally, I just don't like the visuals of Bookmap, so I get it a different way. But at the end of the day, it's your understanding of the order flow that matters, regardless of the tool that you use. Um, Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk. We got coaches doing classes in Discord after this. Coach Hoop, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Coach Ray, 7 p.m. Coach Vince, 8 p.m. Coach Dakota tonight with slow markets at 8 p.m. Coach Paul, are you doing your class at is that tonight?
No, it's only on Mondays.
Only on Mondays. Got you, got you. So Coach Dakota at 8 p.m. for slow markets on YouTube. Then we got Aaron with the London Open, 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. D with metal markets, 6:30 Eastern, and we'll back for the opening call tomorrow, 8:15 Eastern Time. We got some special guests coming on Topstep TV tomorrow during fast markets. So if you are a metals trader, you do not want to miss fast markets. Trade well, everybody out there. Manage your risk. If the weather's nice where you're at, which definitely is where I am, I'm gonna go spend some time outside, away from the charts for a little bit, uh, get a little reset, and get back to it. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so